All right, back here with Captain Marty, and we're going to hear another one of his great stories from days of fishing here on the Outer Banks. And Cap, I got a question for you, and it's something I was thinking about the other day. There's a lot of famous like captain mate combos out there, you know. Some of them have been together for years, and I just wondering if you could tell us a story about a famous captain and mate combo. Could you do that for us today?
Oh, I'd be happy to do that for you. There's one that rises above all others, and one of the harshest combinations or pairs of any combination of captain and mate in the entire fleet. I'll be back in just a moment to tell you who they are.
Teach's Lair Marina in Hatteras Village is the closest spot on the Outer Banks to the Gulf Stream. Just inside Hatteras Inlet, Teach's Lair is fully loaded with bait, tackle, ice, snacks, and drinks for your fun-filled day out on the water. Want to get rigged up to catch the big one? Lee and the gang in the tackle shop can outfit you to catch whatever is eager to get hooked. To see the marina, the tackle shop, or to book a charter, go online to teacheslair.com. Teach's Lair Marina in Hatteras Village. Your fishing venture awaits.
At the south end of Roanoke Island, in a quiet little village, lies a marina known for having one of the finest fishing fleets on the Outer Banks. Whether it be an offshore excursion, a nearshore charter, or headboat fishing, Wanchese Marina is where to go. Wanchese Marina is a full-service marina, complete with a fueling dock, bait, tackle, ice, and the landing grill restaurant. All of this is just a few minutes from some of the finest fishing spots around. Book online at wanchesemarina.com. Wanchese Marina, 4457 Mill Landing Road, Wanchese.
So one of the hardest captains to work for in our fleet for many, many years was Captain Lee Perry on the famous Deepwater. You listen to my story segments, you've heard lots of Lee Perry stories. Nobody ever calls him Lee Perry. They just call him Deepwater.
Okay.
That's the way we do.
Deepwater.
We just call him by the boat name. You know, that's typically how it goes.
Is that why you called Mike Merritt Bubblegum?
No, we call Mike Merritt Bubblegum because he always has a lot of bubblegum in his mouth.
Okay. All right.
But they would call him Bill Fisher. That was his boat. Tar Heel John. Nobody calls him John. They just call him, well, they call him Tar Heel John.
Right.
So, but a lot of the guys, their boat name was their moniker, really. Lee Perry, as you know, or you would know, through the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s was a legend. And he had the oldest, slowest boat on the dock. And that's a key part of this story. So the Deepwater had a dog house like the old boats used to have up on the flying bridge. And you couldn't stand up in it. You could get in there and sit down in it, and it had a hatch in the roof. And on many a pretty day, you'd see old Lee Perry up there climbing out through the hatch, sitting on the roof and steering the boat with his feet on the steering wheel down below, you know. But he had a mate that a lot of folks around. He was a legend. He was a big-time trawl boater, commercial fisherman, but he charter fished in the summer, and this was Ralph Wayne Johnson.
We all
know him as Snooki. He's one of your neighbors.
Yes.
And Snooki, he just as soon fight you as talk to you. And I tell you, I was right intimidated by him when I first met him until I got to know him a little bit, and it turned out he was one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet. But he was salty. I mean, really salty. But anyway, Snooki somehow or another ended up on fishing with Lee Perry on the Deepwater. Now, that's not unusual because most of the time Lee would go through 2, 3, or 4 mates a summer. If you lasted a full 2 months on the Deepwater, you were doing really good. But Snooki and Lee, they got along for a couple years. They did pretty good together. And Snooki had to tolerate Lee, who was very impatient, could not hear, could barely see. He wore Coke bottle thick glasses, and he spoke with a lisp, which is not to make fun of him. It was what gave him his character, you know. So anyway, he was a little bit hard to understand, was a problem. So one day, and I remember he had the slowest boat in the fleet. So when the day is done offshore and you come in, to be the first boat to the dock gets you home way earlier than to be the last boat, mainly because you have to wait in line to fuel up the boat the way it used to be set up.
Right.
Where you had to go to the fuel dock every evening. So Lee Perry being on the slowest boat with Snooki, they every evening were the last boat to make it down to the fuel dock, you know. So anyway, there was one day, when all that changed, and it didn't actually change for the better. I'll be back to tell you exactly what I mean when I come back.
When lines are tight and the bite is on, you need fuel that keeps up with the action. Introducing Sport Fisher, the drink built for anglers and adventurers who never quit chasing the next big catch. With bold flavor and serious kick, Sport Fisher keeps you energized from the first cast to the last run offshore. Whether you're chasing tuna, marlin, largemouth bass, or just for a great day on the water, crack open a can and fuel the catch. Grab yours today and learn more at sportfisherenergy.com. Sport Fisher, because legends don't run out of energy.
So on this particular day, you got to remember back then, now we're talking about the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. The fuel docks are up at the head of the marina where now the tackle shop and the restaurant are now.
Right.
But, and you would come in, unload your charter, unload your catch, get paid, and then quickly as you could untie your boat and get down to that fuel dock because you could look down the channel and see 40 other boats coming in. You're going to be there a while, you know. So on this particular day, he was so used to being the last boat in, they had a great day. I mean, they outfished everybody. They killed them, a bunch of big yellowfin tuna. And they actually got to leave to head home around 2 o'clock. And that's between 30 minutes or an hour earlier than the rest of the fleet.
Right.
So they started in. It was beautiful, slick calm. Snooki's down below rigging up. Lee's up there in the doghouse eating his Cheetos. No, wait a minute. Let me back up. Cheese nips. That's what he loved. It was cheese nips. And when he would be eating a mouthful of cheese nips, if a marlin came up in the baits, he'd start screaming and hollering. He would shower cheese nips all over everybody.
Oh, Lord.
Just one of his many character traits. Anyway, Lee kept telling Snooki, we're going to be the first one to the dock. And he called everybody, oh boy. Oh boy, we're going to be the first one to the dock. Have everything ready. Let's get these people off here quick. Because remember, even though he got a head start, he's a slow boat. So the fast boats are gradually, you can see him way back there behind him.
Yep.
They get to the dock, you know, and the charter's happy to have a great day. They have a finger pier between each boat. So they share, 2 boats will share a finger pier, but most of you throw the fish out on the dock, you know, right behind the boat. So they threw out this beautiful catch of 50-pound yellowfin tunas, and that was good. And Lee never left the flying bridge. He was up there with the motor running, and he was wanting Snooki. He'd come down and got paid on the way to the dock. So all he had left to do was get
the charter off, yeah.
Give Snooki the tip, and the fish house boys would come and pick up those tuna. And some of them were on the finger pier. So they had their coolers, their cameras, a whole bunch of everything. Had just set it on the finger pier that juts out between the 2 boats. Anyway, Lee hollered down in that language that it's hard to understand, the Snooki. He says, Snooki, untie. It was supposed to say, untie her, let's go. And Snooki didn't understand him and wasn't quite ready yet because he was just putting the last cooler on. And he gave a hand signal back up the bridge and said, wait a minute. And with that, Lee thought that hand signal was, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So he tore off out of the slip, you know, to swing out. And when he did, the boat was still tied up on that stern cleat at the finger pier. He pulled that pilot right out from under the finger pier, and the whole pier went down into the water, and he drug it out of the marina. The finger pier was tied to the back of the boat. Oh, my Lord. Not only that, 2 people in the charter fell in the creek, 2 of their yellowfin tuna, their very expensive camera, everything else. And as they pulled out of the marina, Lee was looking straight ahead to make sure he didn't run into anybody. He had no idea he was dragging the dock behind him. And when he got out there, to say that Snooki did a little bit of swearing at him, and you could hear it all the way back up at the fish house.
Oh, gosh.
And they had to untie the pier. And then a whole bunch of people ran out of the dock and were fishing the people out of the water. And Lee went on down into the fuel slip after he got clear of the floating dock. And once they got down in the fuel slip, after everything, do you think he went around to check on the people or see what they didn't know? He said, let's hurry up and get fueled up.
Yeah.
He still wanted to be the first one
to get
fuel. So that was a story I always remember because him and Snooki, one minute they'd be fighting like cats and dogs. The next minute they'd be buddy. And the 2 of them were 2 of the greatest legends that ever fished together in our fleet.